Hi, it's Katie Hornor, founder of theblogconnection.com, but you can call me the Movement Maker. In 2007, my husband Tap and I moved to Mexico to give our lives to make a difference in a small local ministry. And 3 years later, we moved across Mexico to a new ministry. And 9 months after that, we found ourselves without a ministry, without most of our financial support, wounded, betrayed, disillusioned with traditional missions, and determined still to make an impact. We started what is today the leading homeschool company for Spanish-speaking homeschoolers the world over, lemonhaus.com. We learned online business the hard way. We bootstrapped our way to success. And in 2014, when we'd been building this business night and day for 2 years, and we're just starting to generate a bit of regular income, I was able to attend an event in San Diego, California, where I heard Pat Flynn from smartpassiveincome.com speak about his journey to successful online business. I gathered my courage and stood in line after the session to speak to Pat. I explained our situation and our plans, and I said, Pat, you've just done this. This is our 5-year plan. What do you think? Is it possible for us to reach a full-time income goal in 5 years? And he said, no. And then he paused, and though he only paused about 3 seconds, it was the longest 3 seconds of my life. I teared up, and I started to turn away from him when he leaned in and he changed my life forever. He said, Katie, I think you can do this in 2 years. That was it. No long, drawn-out advice, no should-dos, just, I think you can do this in 2 years. But what I heard him say was, I believe in you. I came home to Mexico after that conference. I sat down with my husband Tap, and we reworked our plan to meet that full-time income goal in 2 years. It was a shorter time frame, but you know what? We hit that goal exactly 2 years from that conversation. The thing that Pat knew that I didn't know at the time is that success is a matter of message, missional courses, and movement. Now, he didn't call it that. He didn't say it that way. I'm Katie, and that's just my wording for it. But he had just done this, and he could see that our 5-year plan had the pieces that we needed. We had the work ethic. We were doing it. We were at a business conference, and so we were willing to learn and put money out in an effort to keep growing. We had the elements in place and the courage to challenge the status quo, to do something no one had ever done before, and we had the guts to ask for advice. But he knew that to become a movement, we lacked one key ingredient, and that was someone who believed in us. Aaron Walker from viewfromthetop.com says, isolation is the enemy of excellence. And when you start out to do something big, something that's going to change lives, you've got to surround yourself with folks who will believe in you and who will encourage you, because you can't do this alone. There are 5 obstacles that is going to keep anyone from becoming the leader of a movement. You can conquer these and you'll be on your way. But if any one of these is missing, it's going to be very hard to lead a movement. If you want the list, I've provided a free download below this video, so don't worry about taking notes. Those 5 obstacles that you need to overcome to become the leader of your movement are these. Number 1, you don't want to work hard. That's an obstacle because it takes hard work. Online business is not an overnight success story. It's like a 10-year overnight success story. It takes hard work. You've got to be willing to put the time in, to put the effort in, to learn new things, willing even to invest in the trainings and the conferences and the tools and the coaches and the education that you need to make it happen. It's going to take some late nights. It may take some 80-hour weeks to grow your movement, but you can do it, and it's worth it in the end. The second obstacle that you have to overcome to be a leader of a movement is having a plan. You've got to have the power of a plan if you're going to lead a movement. You can't just set out one day to do something without a plan. If you don't have a river that doesn't have a plan ends up making a really crooked stream. And a leader who doesn't have a plan is going to be all over the place, and people are going to get frustrated and disillusioned and stop following because you don't know where you're going. That plan doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be a plan, and you can tweak it as you go, as you evaluate new things that come up. You can tweak and change the plan to realign with your goals and where you're headed. But you must have a plan if you're going to be the leader of a movement. The third obstacle that you have to overcome to be the leader of a movement is to be confident in the necessity of your message. You must have that courage and inner strength. You're going to be challenged, you're going to be attacked, you're going to be criticized, and sometimes even by your most close friends and confidants. Sometimes by family members, sometimes by the people that you looked up to. They will question you and challenge you and criticize what you're doing. Your message and your belief in your message must be stronger than the opposition, or you will never make it. The fourth thing that you need to be the leader of a movement is guts and humility. If you don't have humility and you're not gutsy enough to ask for advice from those people who are further ahead of you on the journey, you're not going to make it as the leader of a movement. It takes both guts to step out and lead in an area that nobody's gone before. And it takes humility to ask advice when you need it, to ask for help from those who are further ahead, and to admit when you're wrong or when you don't know and get the help that you need to be the leader that you were created to be. The fifth and final obstacle to being a good leader is that you think you can do it all by yourself. And this is a big one. You cannot lead a movement alone. We cannot lead a movement alone. You've got to surround yourself with those people who will believe in you and believe in your message. Maybe it's not your closest friends and family members. Maybe they don't understand, but there are people out there, and you need to find that network, that group of people who believe in what you're doing and believe in you and can rally around you and support you, because there's going to be some dark days. There's going to be some low spots, and you're going to need that encouragement and those people who say, I believe in you. You can do this. And so those 5 obstacles, again, that you must overcome if you're going to be a leader of a movement, is you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have a plan. You're going to have to be confident in your message. You're going to have guts and humility. And you're going to have to find people to surround yourself with who can encourage you, because you can't do this alone. You may not have ever had somebody to speak into your life the way that Pat Flynn spoke into ours that day. But you're here now, and you're watching this video, and I don't believe that happened by accident. Remember that when I was talking to Pat and he paused and he said, no, we couldn't meet that goal in 5 years, that 3-second pause felt like an eternity for me, because in those 3 seconds, this is what I heard. We left everything to move to Mexico and volunteer with these ministries, and then the leaders turned out to be not who we thought they were. And then I heard the voice of my dad saying he couldn't support us anymore, not just as ministry, but in business either. And then I heard my own self-talk from when I was a kid and I wasn't good enough, or my college advisors telling me that I'd never graduate with an education major and a double minor. And by the way, I did. It's amazing how fast you can beat yourself up in 3 measly little seconds. But I'm here to tell you that it's got to stop. And so the question for you listening today is, when is it going to stop? When are you going to believe in yourself enough to stand up against the negative talk and take action? To help you get over these obstacles and on to leading a movement, I've created the Blogger's Guide to Leading a Movement. And you can click on the link below and download that ebook for free. But let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get that book for free, and after you download it for free, you're going to be asked if you want to join the Blog Connection, my private membership program for women entrepreneurs. As a Connection member, you're going to have access to our courses, courses on branding and content creation, on creating a vision and mission for your business. You're going to be able to ask and get help for those tech questions that overwhelm you. There's no judgment in the Blog Connection. Any question is a valid question, and we help everyone as you grow your movement. You're going to have access to our live coaching calls twice each month, our book study courses, and our 24/7 community of other women just like you who are growing their messages into movements and encouraging one another and celebrating one another's successes. Some mentorship programs out there cost $10,000 for the year. I know because I've been in them and I have one myself, but the Blog Connection is not nearly that much. Some of you may be wanting to know how to get into my mastermind that opens only once a year, or how to get one-on-one time with me, and you'll be able to have a chance to hear about how to do that as well when you download the ebook below. And so now I want to thank you for taking the time to watch these videos and to invest in yourself. And I have one more quick story before we go. There was once a queen whose arch nemesis had devised a plan to destroy her family and her heritage forever. Her only hope was to go to the king and expose the plot in the presence of this evil one, who is also one of the king's closest advisors. The only problem was that in approaching the king uncalled for, the law said she could be put to death. Imagine the turmoil inside her soul as she's thinking through the options. If I go, I could die. If I don't go, all my people could die. And then she gets a message from one of her wise old uncles who says, if you don't do this, I am convinced that a hero will rise up from another place. But here, in this part of the world, you and all your people will perish. And what if you have come to the kingdom for just such a time as this? So she goes to the king, uncalled for. She risks her life. She exposes that plot, and the king saves her life and allows her people the freedom from those who would have annihilated them. You may think, well, nobody's going to die if I don't give my message. And yet, there are people out there whose very life, emotionally, spiritually, or even physically, may depend on you getting your message to them. Others have a similar message, and they may never reach those people. They may not communicate it in a way that those people need to hear it. Your message matters to someone out there. I believe that you have come to the kingdom for just such a time as this. Even if you only changed one life, wouldn't it be worth it? If you need somebody to believe in you, you found her. I believe you were created for this. I believe in you. I believe your message is important. I believe your movement is waiting to happen. But the next step is up to you.